Dave here. How are you? Today is the 20th of January 2019, Australian Eastern Daylight Time. Now, what have we got? I've been reading down the side here. Everyone's getting in earlier and earlier, and I'm kind of tempted to start the show earlier, but I think no, gotta be a parent and slow things down and keep it in routine. So I trust everyone's had a good week and you're all well, and you've had projects going in your workshop, especially in the Northern Hemisphere where it's been very, very cold. Down here in Australia, it's been very, very hot. Just some crazy temperatures, 42, 43 degrees Celsius here in the Blue Mountains, which is not known to get very hot. Although I do say to people, it does get hotter here because we're closer to the sun. Now, some people may not agree with me there, but nonetheless, I think in some of the parts of the state of New South Wales, they're getting up to around 50 degrees Celsius, which is very, very hot. Good morning, everyone. As I see, you're all saying hi and chat to each other as well. I'll go through what's going to be on the show. How I clean my table saw surface. I nearly started saying she sells seashells by the seashore, but we won't go there. I use a Valise pad, FESTOOL fleece is how it's pronounced, spelt V-L-I-E-S. It's an 800 grit, and I use that on the Rotex. So I'll go through that and I'll show you what I also use after I've finished cleaning it to keep the surface nice and free of rust and fingerprints, especially in the hot weather at the moment. If you go in and touch someone's cast iron table saw, they're going to get annoyed with you, especially if it's been a hot day and you're sweating, because it's kind of an acidic thing that happens off your fingers, and next thing you know, there's rust marks and your fingerprints are on the saw. The police will be able to come around and detect who it was that touched it. Do you believe that? Okay, so we've got that, and I'm going to use the domino for doing an awkward joint. So this thing here, these are angel wings that I made on the CNC, and I'll tell you what, this is an eye-opener for me, and every time I make something new on the CNC, I'll show you one. That's it. That's out of a chunk of 182 by 42 millimeter H3 pine. I love it. Unbelievable. And I'm going to show you, I'm going to join it because these are part of the project that I'm working on at the moment in the garden, this huge big swing thing that I'm making. And I'll take you back to that a little bit. Vicky was looking at getting a swing set for when the grandchildren come around. And they were getting up in dollars, and they weren't looking, they were just, you know, bolt together steel things, pipe. I thought, when some of my grandchildren get on that, they're big boys, some of them, they're going to smash it. So how about I make something out of timber? Sure, it might cost a little bit more, but it's fun doing it, especially seeing now that I can incorporate the CNC to help me while I'm doing all of that. And that's been fantastic. I love doing stuff with plywood, with the CNC, don't get me wrong, but going into ordinary timber, areas where I would have used a circular saw and a chisel to chop, you know, lap joints, all that kind of stuff, I would have possibly wrote with a pen, well, sorry, with a paintbrush, but where now I'm doing carving with the machine and creating these beautiful shapes. I could have done this with a bandsaw and the bobbin sander and a router and so on, but it's another world. It's going forward in life and with technology, and why not? Why not, I say. So I'll go through that, and I'm going to show you with the domino how I can do this perfectly, and then we'll pop it on the bobbin sander. I've already done a couple last night, so I'll show you how I just tidy it up. Also, cables, how to roll up correctly. Now, I noticed there's been a bit of chat on the Facebook page, and everyone wants to show you their best way of rolling up a cable. And I'll tell you what, I think they're all good ideas. I have a couple of ideas I'm going to throw in as well. Derek Lark has sent a little video in to me. He popped it up on Facebook, and he got back to me 5 minutes later. He said, "Oh, Dave, I'm sorry, I threw up a video on the Facebook page. Will you forgive?" Of course I'll forgive you. It's there for everyone to use. And I really didn't mind. But I said, how about we save it for the show on Sunday, and I'll throw it up, and then you'll probably get a much bigger audience to see that. And then I'll also show some of my tips. I noticed that Dr. Greg has also thrown in his method of winding cables, and I'm sure they all look great. So that's how we'll go. And then what else we got? Inside Stuart's garage workshop and his new shed. So he's very, very happy about it. And why not? He's doing a great job and loving life as a retiree, and just set his whole garage up. There's no room for anything else in there. It's his domain, and he's put another shed up in the garden to act as a storage and also a timber rack. So we'll have a look at that. I share how my CNC progress is going. And also the other thing is, just to let you know, if you do decide, I've got the door open at the moment so you can hear the cockatoos outside going crazy. If you hear the cockatoos, I've just said that. If you're thinking with the CNC that it's going to be difficult and you'll never get your head around it, well, I'll tell you what, I'm 60 plus, and at the beginning I looked at CNCs and I thought, you know, there's no way that I'm going to do that. I haven't got enough time left in my life to be able to learn something new. Well, it's been great because learning something new has been stimulating my brain, what's left of it, and I'm going forward and I'm having a ball doing it. And even with one of my granddaughters the other day, we sat there and I said, right, now, these are the profiles of the lintels that I'm going to be doing and these are the ends. What shape do you prefer? Now, she's only 7, but she's very artistic. And she said, I like that one, Granddad. Okay, fine, we'll go with that one. And we created it using geometry in Aspire. And that's how I came up with these. And how I came up with these lintels as well. This was all geometry. And I think I'll do a video very soon on how I created these shapes in Aspire. And then I've already done the video of the machine cutting it out and setting it up. So I could combine that together. Would anyone be interested in seeing that? I'm curious. I'm also videoing this whole garden swing going together as well. It's interesting. My mother-in-law spotted it last night. She saw the two end sections. So it's got double poles at either end. Double posts, I should say, that are kind of open. She said, are you doing 2 swings? I said, no, they're just the ends. This is a dirty big thing. It's 4.5 meters in between these 2 posts. So it's good fun. All right, I'm going to do a quick read down the side here. I think I've got everything else here. Chat, support the channel through Patreon. I want to see photos from where you're watching or projects you're building in your workshop like people are doing already. This is fantastic. I love to see this input, and I'm sure that you would also like to be able to see what other people are doing rather than just me being boring here, standing up in my own lunchbox. Okay, here we go. I'm going to have a quick read down the side here. Matthew, morning. Dave XB, can you buy hardwood in Norway? Espen, about 2 hours. Morning all. Ian Carey, good morning, Dave, and all the faithful. Yeah, I know. Straight to the corner. Correct. Chewy. Yes. There's a whole lot of stuff in here. All right, you want to see these videos about me doing Aspire? You know what? How about next week? Next week's Australia Day is on the Saturday. How about I think I can load up a program called Snagit. And I might be able to do it so you're actually watching on the screen. If I can't get it on the screen from this, I'll get one of these cameras in nice and close and you can watch while I do it. It's so much fun. It really is. And it might de-scare you. Is that such a word? De-scare. Demystify? I've heard of demystify. I've never heard of de-scare. It's another original Stanton saying. Okay, John, yes, just got VCarve and good to see the difference for Fusion 360. Ian, it will be crowdedness. I don't know what the story is there. Now, apparently the internet is behaving itself because I've got a solid green light down here, which tells me how the upload is going. If it goes to red or yellow or brown, it means there's interruption and it's going rubbish, but it's going great. Also, an update on what's happening with the NBN with me. Every time I check in, it normally tells me it's going to be in this quarter, a quarter further down, as in a quarter of the year. This last night when I checked, it's told me it'll be here in April. It said some places may get it a little bit later due to access into the property, all that kind of stuff. So hopefully, fingers crossed, when it comes, I'm going to jump on the fastest speed possible, which is their 100 megabits a second. Now, if it works, you guys will be able to watch this, hopefully, in 4K, if I can get some 4K cameras. Otherwise, it'll be full HD, very, very clean. So, onwards and upwards, we're looking forwards to things. Okay, so yes, VCARV, yes, Chewy Educational Seeing the Aspire. Ouch, looking at minus 23. Looks and sounds good here. Thank you. Quick drink. 10 past already. I can yabber on, can't I? All right. I'm going to switch the camera down to this bad boy here, and you can see what I'm doing. Where are we? There and there. Okay. Now you can see how easy it is to put things in my bench. You didn't think you were going to get away without me doing an advertisement for my bench, did you? So these are a couple of dogs. There's a dog there. This is one of the tapered dogs that's for wedges that John's made. And this is my Craig bench clamp with a 5/16 T-bolt in it instead of the dome head. And it makes it slide along there quite nicely. So all I'm doing here is dropping it down till it's a nice... The cushion strip is going to do all the work for me. Got it. Love it. So there we go. That's held. It's pushing against that dog and it's pushing against down there. I'll release it and just push it down again. Got it. Okay, now I'm going to get the domino and I'm going to domino into there because I'll show you what we're going to make. I'll switch the cameras again. Back to this one. There. Now this is 2 angel wings that I've joined together. All done on the CNC and inspired by my granddaughter for the shape. She said, "Granddad, I like that shape there." Okay, great. So, as I say, I cut a heap of them like that and I'm going to join them together with the domino there. Now, it's not a dramatically hard joint, but I'll tell you what, the domino makes easy work of it. So I'll grab the machine and I'll show you quickly what I mean. Turn it on to auto. Now I've set everything up so we don't waste time. What I've got here is the trim stop. So this is for doing, as it says, trim work, you know, small stuff like this. So I know this is 42 millimeters. Get that out of the way. I know this is 42 millimeters wide. So I've set the domino up to be 21 millimeters either side of the center line on the trim stop. I'll switch cameras again and see if I can show you if it'll come in nice and tight. Okay, you may or may not be able to see it, but down there and there, if you can see, you might see 21 and 21 either side. Around the other side, spin it around, these little jaws here, they're 42 millimeters apart. I can adjust them by these little screws here to open out, sorry, these ones here, to open out or close up tight. And this speeds things up big time. I've got an 8 millimeter cutter in there. I've set it to 15 millimeters from the base plate to the center of the cutter. Okay, so that's how it works. So 42 in there, from there to the center of the cutter. When I pull that down, you'll see the cutter come out, and it is 15 millimeters to the center. This is around 25 to 30 millimeters thick here, and it's just a matter of dropping it on, sliding it in position, and then turning it on. So now, there you go. Centered. I'm going to do one on here. Have a quick look at that. Yeah, that looks pretty good. I don't know why I'm switching around. They're all done on the CNC. They should be perfect. Yeah, let's go that one. I might drop it down a little. I don't want to go down too far. I'll put it back where it was. How easy is this? Got him. Do this one. Oh, you know what? I've been showing the wrong camera. I'm going to switch over again. Sorry about that, guys. Here we go. So we're back around here. I'm going to, what's that? Go to wireless. Okay. The cameras didn't switch. Okay, there we go. Sorry. I'm going to show you again. All right. See down here. Sorry about that. That's my bad. Between here and here is 42 millimeters. You may be able to see down the bottom here the text. Maybe or maybe not. Okay. These guys here, open it this way and this way. From here, I've got 15 millimeters down to the center of that 8 millimeter cutter. Now the Domino actually has router cutters, but they're a special shape router cutter. It's not a drill, it is a cutter. All right, and that's the Domino there that we just did. My apologies. Sorry about that. We aren't seeing Dave, the cameras are not obeying you. Okay, still in the main camera. Gee, I'm glad everyone's telling me that I'm being an idiot. Thank you. Here we go. So there we go. I've got the Domino set up. I'll tip it up a little bit so that you can see it, and you can see what I'm watching up there. There we go. Now that wasn't too hard. There you go. And now you might also be interested on how I glue these together. Should we go to CarlCam? Let's go to CarlCam, and there. Yeah, why not? I'm going to pop that in this way. Ha! Don't you love it? There we go. And switch the cameras to the transition as well. There we go. So I don't know if CarlCam's going to be the best on this one. No, we'll go back to the one where we were. And transition. Ha! Oh dear. Maybe straight on. Maybe this one. No, we'll stick with this one for the moment. All right. What I will do is I'll swing this camera around a little, like so. Now you might see I put my glue brush in one of the holes in the bench yesterday after I finished gluing up, and there's a bit of glue on the surface. You may not see that. Look at that. There's a bit of the glue left over, and it did not stick to the wax. Swing this back around this way, and there. Now the glue on these brushes, you let it set, and then you do this. You just pull it off, and it doesn't hold onto the silicone. Now, I know that Greg has found some silicone brushes in Woolworths or Coles or somewhere like that. It's just one of the grocery stores in Australia. In the cooking section, and he's using that as a glue brush. What a great idea. Now, hi Hilton, how are you? Go to the corner, Hilton. Cheers, Joseph. Hilton, IDK 700 or 500, that is the dilemma. Well, I got the 700, but I've got an adapter. I've got the RTS 500, which is an adapter. Now what I do to glue the Dominoes in, I do it probably a little bit different to everyone else. I put a heap of glue on there, and then I get my glue brush, and I just, with the glue brush dosed up, you find every time, the first time you do it, there's not going to be too much glue on there, so you might need to put just a little bit more, because a lot of it will go straight into the brush. You guys know what I'm talking about. And a little bit just on the top there, hang it over the edge. Oop, that's a 10. I'm after an 8. There you go. I'd even said to Vicky last night, oh, that was, I did it, started doing a test demo, and I glued up a 10 millimeter, and it looked silly. I said, Jesus, I'm glad I got that out of the way so I didn't look like a turkey on the show. Anyway, that happens, that happens. There we go. done. And this one, we'll glue this up. And on the end grain, I try and let it set in on the end grain for a little while, because that it absorbs it quickly. It's not really end grain, it's 45 degrees, so it's end cross grain mix. Here we go. Take him out of there. Wobble him up. And for some strange reason, that one's gone off slightly. I better check the domino. $21.21, it's looking okay. I'll clean that up with the sander. Right, now the next thing I want to do, I'm going to switch cameras again to there. Basting brush, eh? And this is another one I've done last night. I'll take that clamp off. And these clamps, I don't use these for heavy duty, but what is good about them, on the end, one head will rock around. There's a little button here. You push that back in, it makes it parallel, but the rest of the time it's not. So I shall slide it back a bit there, and you'll see it as it pulls it together. There she goes. Magic. What do you think of that? Now, that'll sit there on its own as well. Beautiful. All right, I'm going to pop this over here to dry. And I'll do another one, because why not? I want to get them all done. And then I'll throw them on the other sander. What have we got happening here? Just ordered Rotex 125 from FESTOOL, and I'm wondering what kind of sanding disc you guys recommend. Okay. All right, what I've used for sanding is I get 80, 120, 180 and 240. If I want to, sometimes I'll also get 320 and 400. And that normally takes me up to anything. If you go more than 240, sometimes you're going to start closing or polishing the fibers, and it won't accept some finishes. So sometimes you have to stop earlier rather than later. I know with Osmocote, they say to go to 120. So, you know, that's the kind of thing. I stick with granite paper. I wouldn't go with their net paper unless you're sanding paint. I find it leaves some swirlies on the surface. On timber, granite is actually better for timber. The mesh is the abranet, well, what do they call it? Anyway, the granite mesh is fantastic on metals and also on painted finishes. I think that's what they've aimed it at. It doesn't clog up. You do need the interface pad with it, otherwise it will melt the Velcro. So there you go. What do we got? Do this one again. I'm going to move that out of there, up to there, like so. I'll go this way up. Is it being selfish of me to get my own projects done while I'm doing this? There's a little bit of a ridge on there, and I'll explain why. When I did all the cutting on the CNC, I stopped it right on the last one before it had just finished. So I've got this little ridge here. So I'm going to use my Rider 69.5. I love this little plane. Now this is a low angle block. And why am I doing this? Well, because it's only the tiniest spot. I want the domino to be able to sit hard on that surface. Done. Beautiful plane. Get yourself one. These things, as I said, it's right, it's from Axminster. Beautiful little low angle block. Okay, clean this, hit this with a domino. So quick and easy. And that one there. And then we'll get into the some of the viewers' things. We'll do the cleaning up the table saw towards the end of it. Everyone's there. Chat. Ah, CNC. I love it. I see what the problem is. Ever so slightly too far. Sneak it back. There we go. Beautiful. That's got it. So these power tools are only as good as you set them up as well. Lovely. Pop them in that way. Come on, in you go. Done. And I need to get another 8mm. Sometimes they get lost inside the box. I'll show you what I mean. You might be using them in it's an assortment that I use. So when you've finished, you might grab a handful and then you just throw them back in. Next thing you know, you throw them in the wrong spot. That's an 8. It does say the size. It's actually pressed. The size is pressed in, but sometimes you miss it because your eyes aren't as good. G'day, Dave. Just received some silver glide to do my saw stop. Very timely. Good. How much are those block planes? I don't know. You can buy them in Australia. Just check it out on the internet. Ryder, R-Y-D-E-R, I think it is. And quickly before the glue goes all over the place, David, 69.5. So I've got the Ryder 69.5 and their low angle jack as well, and they're beautiful planes. I have heard some people say that they're not overly impressed with the low angle jack, but I haven't had that problem. But the little low angle block, I love it. Now, to me, the low angle blocks, the best one is going to be the Veritas. If you're after something that's, really nice and you've got a bit of a budget as well, well then the Ryder. Go for that. It's beautiful. Axminster Tools is Ryder's brand, or Ryder is Axminster Tools brand. I think that's how it goes. Plenty on there. A little bit down the guts. Don't turn it that way. That'd be a tragedy. Beautiful. Look at that. Even before I've done anything. Ta-da! What a great joining system. I haven't even clamped it yet. Okay, I'm going to move this camera out of the way before it gets me. I don't think I'll be using that camera much today. Nice day outside. Thank heavens at last. Use one of John's dogs out of the way. And a clamp on there. Wherever I put it. There it is. Come on. Now the way to check whether it's going well or not, is just put a square on it at this end. And that, my friends, is absolutely spot on. I was thinking I might need to put a strap clamp around the whole thing, but because the domino is such a nice tight fit in the join, it can't flex as it's pulling it along. It's forcing it down a very, very fine tolerance area, and then it's pushing up against two faces there, and that's done. So that one can go to the side and dry with the other one. With the stuff with this glue, with the tight bond, you only need it clamped up for not 3 hours, for 30 minutes. All right, half past, and now we're going to slide on to using the bobbin sander, and then we'll jump into the last thing, and we'll show some viewers things. So do the bobbin sander now, and where are we? You can see it there. It's okay, and I need to plug it in. I have an extension lead here waiting. This is how I do my extension leads. These things here are great. It holds everything in place. I can take it to wherever I want. They slide out pretty easy. I'll plug this in. I have another cable hanging from the ceiling, and I would ordinarily use that, but the monitor is plugged into it at the moment. And I also need the dust extractor. I'll take the domino off. So we've had some fun sending the, there it is out there. Give me a second, guys. We had some fun sending the benches out last week. We had 3 different courier companies sending them out, and 2 of them have performed really, really well. I was so impressed. You know, the next day or the day after, they arrived, and I thought, this is fantastic. One courier company, it's a little bit of a shame, and I'm not going to name them, nothing but trouble, absolute trouble, and the driver was an arrogant person, and I will never use that courier company again. I'm not going to name them. There's no advantage to it, but for the people that haven't received them yet, that's been the dilemma. We sent one to Leeton with Star Trek, fantastic. We sent another one to Queensland, and that was with TNT, brilliant. This other company, and as I say, terrible. All right, what do we got next? We're going to do this, so I need to throw the old stealth on. Whilst these, okay, Luke, use the force. Whilst my dust extractor does a pretty good job, just the general architecture of this kind of machine doesn't really lend itself to collecting dust very well. I'm going to clean this up first. There we go. And where are we? This one, you can watch from there. See? Beautiful. And the other direction. Have a look at that. It's beautiful. I've got to do a little bit more sanding around the edges here, but that'll be fine. Okay, take that off. these are a great little mask. I use the big one, you know, the powered one, when I'm doing things like, you might have seen I put on Instagram cutting one of the paving blocks for out the back there. And, you know, I was in a shroud. And I also want a protection here as well. And, you know, it's just, I jumped onto that one. And I use it if I've got a long run of stuff. This one, I just throw it on for quick stuff. I love it. And Vicky can use this for lead light as well, because it will is fine for welding and soldering fumes. So something very interesting. Okay, where are we up to? Let's do, I'm going to spin this around the other way again. So we're back to there. I'll move this one out of the way. I don't think I even turned the dust extractor on then, did I? No. Oh, well, there you go. Going to do some reading and a quick drink and have a quick look down here. For a hot climate, use the one that I've got, the big one, because it blows an airstream over your face and keeps you cool as you're perspiring. Trend Air Shield Pro, I think they call it. Mine is now, mine is the model prior to it, which is the Pure Light Airstream. Let me have a look back through here. I found Australia Post, Fastway and Star Trek are all useless, damaged goods and missing items. Okay, well, I make no comment. I'm just making comment about what my experience has been. Okay. Joseph, I must say that after watching your video on the benchtop MFT versus the fixed table version, I opted for the benchtop. My space is too small. If I made, I'd have to, and if I made it, I'd have to walk. I'd have a way to take out a part. I'd have to have a way to take apart. Okay, yeah, okay. Derek, fine tools have Ryder in Australia. Kinetic also have an economy low angle block. John, how important was the wood grain alignment for the CNC cutting? Look, we've got a couple of minutes. I'll show you. I'll show you what it came from. And I might even show you a little bit next week on how this all went. So this was a piece of 182 by 42. And all I did was lay it down the y-axis. So it went down the bed this direction in front of me. The spoil board that I've just finished making has got, I've done a specialized spoil board for it, which is my own design. And I'll do a video on that. I've already filmed it all, but I've just got to get my time to get it together. I'm trying to take advantage of the holiday time I've got at the moment and get all the projects done at home that I can. I've still got stuff waiting for me. I'm not going to finish them. So this is what it came out of. And I used a 1/4-inch router cutter. It was a spiral down in this particular case. I should have used a spiral up. And it did a 1/8 of an inch pass every time. So it was 14 passes to go through. So it took around an hour and a half to cut all these out. And but man, oh man, you see see them? They're fantastic. Okay. All right, look, we're going to get into some of the viewer stuff. Dave, I found Star Trek and Melbourne are very professional. Yeah, look, Star Trek and TNT, for me, for my experience, have been great. There's another company that I will not mention, and, you know, arrogant. There was 2 parcels. If anyone buys the bench, you get this, the big, large parcel, and the small box that's got all the bits and pieces in it. The guy said, oh, it's too big, I'm not carrying that. And Vicky said, like this, my wife was there, and he was saying this to my wife, and he said, I'm not carrying that. And she said, but it's under 20 kilos, it's 15 kilos or whatever it is. Well, I can't carry 2 boxes. She said, I'll carry the other one for you, it's not a problem. Well, get up to the truck. And she said, aren't you going to scan it? No, I'll scan it in 5 minutes' time down the road. And I'm thinking to myself, what are you talking about? You're going to scan it 5 minutes down the road. 2 days we had to chase that up, and we got in touch with the company, and we complained, and I said, never use you again. So anyway, by the by, It wasn't even, the tracking number hadn't even come up as being a tracking number that was recognised. I was so angry. Anyway, let me see, what have we got next? What have we got next? Okay, so we've got Bob Macker. Let's jump in here. So I'm going to read this part from Bob when I get around to there. Bob, here we go. G'day Dave, a little shed time over the last couple of weeks and thought these projects may be of interest for the show, and I'll just switch over here. Made a couple of artist brush stands for my wife, not a big thing, but dovetails and shellac added the necessary artistic touch for her and sharpened the dovetail skills up for me. The second project, and we'll go to the second one here, and this is interesting. This is interesting. Came as a result of Ian Kerry and me getting our heads together to come up with something to aid in the moving around of our MFT tables. Just as this other gentleman was saying earlier, you know, it was getting heavy. As you know, our garages also house cars when the workshop is not in use. Space and mobility is a priority. Knocked up this little trolley base out of a scrap, works a treat, and the table is now put away easy in next to no time at all. The table stands on the trolley unsecured, and let's go to the next one. The tray stands unsecured, but I'm thinking about a simple support to make it sure it doesn't go belly up on the off the trolley when freestanding in the middle of the garage. Ian made his a little smaller and used skateboard wheels. I think the idea would also be practical for people buying your Stanton bench, as I would think that they have limited space also. Well, that's lovely, Bob, but the Stanton bench is nice and light. It's easy to carry around. All right, next thing. Wally Bronson. Now, Wally has watched what I was talking about the other week with the the separator and the cyclone. He said, here's one of my dust collector setup. The black container has a capacity of 20 gallons, and you can see it in this image. If you enlarge the photo, you can see that I'm using an old J.C. Penney, and I'll change pictures, go to there. J.C. Penney shop vac, it still works. It's plumbed together with 2-inch PVC pipe, and I have all of my tools on wheels so when I back it out, or when I back out my wife's car out of the 18 by 19 foot garage, then I can move most of my tools around to use them. I also have a Harbor Freight collector for my table saw, but planning on adding a large Dust Deputy cyclone to it, so then I'll be able to use for most of my tools. Once I get the larger separator, I can use the small one on a 5-gallon bucket for cleaning our cars and stuff. Tried to collapse the container, but so far it will not budge. If you have any questions about it, drop me a line or do some Facebook time. That sounds brilliant. Come back to me again. We'll go to the next one. So that one and that one. And we have Stuart. Now, Stuart sent me a little bit of video as well as a few photos. And this is inside his workshop. And I'm going to start talking before I actually even put his stuff on. Finally have a lumber rack outside the workshop. She who must be obeyed shot down any garage expansion. But after a year of begging, finally okayed a shed. However, this 12 by 8 foot, the authorised size by my wife, shed could not look like a shed and must appear to be a she shed. Weather delays are finally behind me, and with help from a good friends, it's done. Sorry, I did not take more photos of the construction, but as a one-time volunteer on Habitat housing builds, this thing is solid to say the least. Of course, every lumber rack must have sliding patio doors. Now, I don't need tools, don't need half the tools I have, so to produce great work, but I love tools and being in my workshop every day. So I'm going to start up this one from Stuart now. Here we go. And if you think I make little of anything other than the workshop here, I'm sending you a shot of a fireplace renovation with wood covering. The old cracked tiles we uncovered. The wood itself is free and had a few people vacillating over whether it is maple or something. At any rate, it's stained dark walnut. Back to 2019 capital investment plan. Yes, I'm very lucky to be able to invest this way. We've added a crosscut sled to the saw stop, replaced a Craig router table by adding the saw stop router table in the extension wing. Adding to my new Nova DVR drill press is the Jet oscillating sander and a Rikon spindle sander. Once I turn my Laguna dust extract or collector to the side to accommodate the new router, I'm afraid the woodworker's disease of rearrangitis, I like it, set in. The improvements were striking for me. Everything is on wheels, and having tools placed in a production system, location relative to each other, doesn't really bother me. Last but not least, I decided to upgrade the Band-Aids in the cupboard to a real first aid kit. But somehow I overbought, and I can likely take care of my neighbours as well. There you see the half that he's redone with the walnut. How nice does that look? Now, that's a gas fire, so it's not really a problem. I did get in touch with Stuart and say, well, buddy, what if one of those logs rolls out, catches fire to your hearth, and your house is gone? And it's a gas fire. So, not as bad, but I would still be concerned about radiant heat on that, Stuart. Where are we up to next? We're getting along fine, guys. We've got about 15 minutes to go. The winner of... anyone who was after the GRS 16, don't worry, Les got in touch with me. He'd been away camping. And so I got in touch with him with a phone call, and he's got back to me and said, Dave, been away camping. I'd love the GRS 16. So it's all been sent off to TSO Products, and they will send the GRS 16 PE to him. Okay, so we have Greg Palmer, and Greg won the Air Stealth dust mask that I was just using then. And there he is. Big thumbs up, and loving it, and he reckons it's pretty good. It's a nice fit. I've got all this stuff coming up through here. Barry, great workshop. Good to see doors not used. Joseph, Dave, what is your opinion on which domino to get? Can most be done with the 500 or 700 worth it, and adapt the 500? I said to people many, many times, if I was to do it again, I'd get the 500. I wouldn't get the 700. I had all these grandiose ideas of big things I was going to build, because that was just my nature. You see these pieces of timber here beside me that are going, you'll see them when I swing the camera around. They're nearly 6 meters long. That's the stuff I used to deal with every day. You can't use the 500 for that size. But for the stuff that I'm doing, the swing set and everything else in here, 500 is fine. Absolutely fine. Ask Brett. Father Brett Guthrie, he asked me the same questions, and he ended up getting the 500 as well. And he's loving it. Nothing's ever popped up that he needed the 700 for. Dear. Okay, I've read a couple of things here. Just broke everyone's heart. Explain that to me. I've missed some of the chat, so you might have to fill me in on that one. All right, and we've got one more picture here. You know, we're cooking away over here, but then this is a picture of Steve Hoetz. This is his place a couple of days ago. So I don't know if he's sent me anything. He might have sent me some text as well, but he was saying, you know, the only work he's going to be doing for the next couple of days is shovel work. So that's pretty cold. That's very cold. Oh dear. All right. Not a problem, Joseph. Get the 500. Okay, what do we got next? Ian, nice shop. It is a nice shop, Stuart. All right. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do things slightly different. I'm going to let you know who won before I start on the table saw. So I'll read you some of the entries. Oh, yeah. Everyone was hoping for a redraw. You might have sold your drop saw, Matthew. Excellent. Here we go. Michael Christophers. I love the Rockler dust collector hose handle that fits matched outlets on my power tools. So these are things that I've asked you to drop in. This is the Rockler corner radius template set that Carbotech have donated and they're giving away. And so we're going through the entries that happened, and I'll let you know the winner. David Crandall, not the winner. A great new simple way of rounding corners and what I believe is great value for money. Richard T, the corner radius template. At least I will not have to look for old jar lids for the curve anymore. Rick Schnellman, not the winner. Kidner Candy Store, I want everything I see. Marinus Beamers, I love my Rockler sign makers templates. Easy to set up and use. They're great for making personalized gifts. Cara, the silicone mat because I'm a messy sort of person. John Lafferty, the Surefoot bar clamps, very neat idea to keep things flat. Matthew, I've actually been after some corner routing templates for a while. These look useful. And the winner was Paul Robson. And he said, all Rockler products interest me. Produce some MFT clamps, please. Well, you can do that, or you can get some of John's stuff as well at Yellow Box Shed. Anyway, bugger, sorry, wrong window. I'm not sure. Might have, oh, good. That's okay. Watching Dave's tutorials de-scares me from complex projects. Thank you, Respects Wood. How good. Don't you love the shape of these things? So these are going inside. There's two big legs either end of this swing set. And these are part of the Art Devo that I was talking about. There's more. So you'll have to watch the video. But I thought I'd share with you the little part that I'm doing at the moment. Now let's swing that camera around and get stuck into what's happening down there. I don't think I've left anything out. Yeah, so it was Les Sketcher won that GRS 16. And it was this week, Paul Robson won the Rockler templates. And I'm not doing a giveaway this week because I haven't had time to get anything sorted. I'm going to swing the camera around. As I said, I'll show you the kind of stuff that I'm using. Stay with me, don't fall over. So there's still another 1.5 meters going that direction of these beams. So these are going on top. This is pretty intense the way that it's going to go. Okay, so I'm down near the end of them. That's a fair size. Oh, how about I show you the way that I do. I need Derek's video. Sorry, I hadn't got Derek's video up and running on how to fold up an extension lead. I nearly missed it, Derek. You would have been cranky with me. Where are we? Winding, cable winding. Here we go. I'll stay quiet for this.
Hi, here's a quick coil winding tutorial. And the trick with winding any cable, and you can see they're just a mess if you get them all screwed up. The real trick is to roll the cable between your thumb and the pointer as you rotate each coil. So you're giving it a twist. See that? You're twisting it between your thumb and your pointer finger as you roll it into the coil. Simple as that, and you'll have a beautiful rolled cable every time. That's an old roadie's trick for the musos amongst us. Thanks for watching.
Okay, back to me again. So it's handy, that's very handy. Now, one of the things, I don't know if you can see me over here, you can't, no, I'm at the PowerPoint. All right. Now, when I'm winding up an extension lead, and I'll try and push this back a little bit so you can see a bit more of what I'm doing. When I'm winding up an extension lead, I always go from the female end. Now, the reason being, when it's all wound up, the last part is the male end of the plug. Now, in Australia, we've got a different kind of plug to you guys. So there's the male, earth at the bottom, active and neutral. Now, the reason I wind up from the female end and the male is the last part is because I will then plug this in and unwind back to where I'm going. I don't go the other way around. So, how I do it is, if it's a very short lead, I'll do this one. And as I'm doing it, I make sure that I make the lead go as far, fully open. I unravel the lead right the way out along the driveway. It's also good on a warm day if you can do that, because a cold cable is hard to wind because everything's stiffer. But if it's warm, and most of you people that have got a driveway, it gets hot during the day, so you roll it out, just lay it out on the drive and let it warm up. I do the same with garden hoses. As I'm pulling the cable in, I do exactly the same as Derek does. I roll it and it loops itself over, and I'll normally go like that. Pull it through, and then I'll flick it over. See that? And there you go. And it just goes really nice. Right at the end, I'll use that strap that goes around, unlocks it, and hang it from the wall. Or, I don't think I've got a short cable here to do it. What I was going to say is, I used to then pull the cable down like that, and hold it like so, and then I'd wind the last little bit and push it through and give it a bit of a pull like that. And then I would hang that. But always, always, always wind from the female end back to the male, because the male you just put straight into the power point and then you undo it and it stops it getting another mess. Because you can make a mess of a perfectly well wound up cord just by just throwing it rather than undoing it properly. Yeah. All right, you'll find I think it's a Carbotech jointer. I also use double-sided Velcro for holding cords, buy rolls. I used to use tomato tape. There's a Velcro tape, and it was for tying tomatoes onto tomato stakes as they're growing, because you can undo it really quickly and it doesn't damage the plant. So there you go. All right, let's get into this. I'll swing that around there and tip the camera down a little. And move that out of the way. All right, this is the Rotex. I don't need that cable, I'll need that. And I use this with the Rotex. So at the moment I've got the fleece. It's grey, and it's an 800 grit aluminium oxide mesh. That's what this is. I put the duckbill in, like so. And that lets me hold on to the front of the Rotex without touching this. This part gets hot. This isn't so bad. This is great. It lets me get even pressure on the Rotex as I'm using it. They do sell something that goes in the side here, but I find if I'm holding there and there, I tend to rock down this way into the corner, and I don't give even pressure. Okay. Wrong technique, is it? Oh, I'm sorry about that. Everyone's going to have their own technique, but that's the one that I use. And I've had these cables for 25 years, so they seem to like it. I'm going to get the hose and this one, plug it into the Dusty. We're getting very close to the end of the show. We know who's won, so I'm guessing a few of you will be leaving now. And I need to put that in. It's not that cable, David, it's the other one, of course, because this is a lightweight machine. And it's got the thinner cable. Like so. In she goes. Make sure that's turned off. Bring this down. I couldn't set this part up because we had I was using the Domino earlier. And I will be wearing this because we're going to be sanding cast iron, and you don't want to suck that in. It makes you feel really dry. Take the glasses off. I'll put them back on now. And you ready? It's going to make a little bit of a noise. It's going to leave a pattern. It's going to leave a pattern on the surface. I've got spots here that it's all gone rusty, so I need to clean it. Okay, we're running out of time, so I'm going to get the camera and bring it over so you can see what I've done. See if I can get the cable coming through as well. All right, this is the area that I've just done with the Rotex. I haven't done this. So that's, to me, quite an improvement. And it did not take me very long at all. So I'm going to do the rest of this a little bit later on today. But get rid of the insert, get rid of the riving knife, drop the blade all the way down, all that kind of stuff. Give yourself a nice clean area. Okay, so that's that part. And now Silver Glide. This is what I use. So there you go. This stuff, they give it to you in a plastic bag because when it gets hot, it melts out a little bit. But that's it. It's a paste. And I'll put a little bit on so you can see what's happening. Give me a second. I'm climbing around things at the moment in the background that you're not seeing. And I'll get that. And look, I'll do the right thing as well and wear a glove. I'm wearing my favorite, absolute favorite inspection gloves. These are Hammer Nitrile inspection gloves. These are fantastic. Using a bit of paper towel. And it is, again, nothing's going to kill you with this, but you know, it stops it getting behind your fingernails. And there's nothing too fancy about doing it. I'll put the lid back on. Give you another look. So that's the Silver Glide on it. I leave that there for about 10 minutes to soak into the cast iron. You wouldn't think cast iron is porous, but it is. It's horribly porous. It'll soak stuff into the top. So, what was the pad I was using? Well, I'll show you. I think this will reach down here. So let's have a look. It's fleece for lies. I'll come in close. It's the 800. So you can see the number there, which is 482780. I don't know if that's a new or an old code. But on the inside of the Rotex box, all of this information is there waiting for you. So why not? So that's it. Fleece, V-L-I-E-S, and it's pronounced fleece because it looks like fleece. Okay. All right, I think that's going to do it, guys. I think so. Hilton's headed out. He's had enough. I'll sit back this way, take this off. Heading out to the workshop to continue turning those bowls and platters. Thanks for the show, Dave. Stay happy and healthy, everyone. So Huru, take time, hover to take Hoover freeze walk. Oh, okay. Hoover, the vacuum cleaner, I guess. Very true. I'm sure lots of people will be awaiting the news when you can reveal it. I don't know what is going to be revealed. Let me go back up through there. One vote here to see Yellow Box Shed new stuff next week. Oh, yeah. I've asked John to send some stuff up to me. He came up with a little idea that other people are making. But John likes to get a hold of these things and just, make his own version. And he's done a bloody good one. And it will work very well with the Stanton bench. Of course it will. I think that's about it, guys. I've got to go and help Vicky do some gardening. So I'll be out of here. Thanks, Dave, for another great show. See you next week. Look, I hope what I'm doing is helping you out. If there's something that I do in here and it's just a little light bulb comes on above your head and says, bugger, I knew that's how you do it. If I can demystify things for you, that's fantastic. Keep watching. Keep coming back. Watch my videos. If you like my videos, let the ad run. It's only a couple of seconds for you, and it's a few cents to me. And it really does help. It inspires me to keep going. If you like what I'm doing, as I say, click the thumbs up button and let people know. Share it around. And I think that's about it. Let me see what I can find down here. Intro and scrolling text. Have a great week, everyone. I'll see you. Look after yourselves. Be nice to each other and have a great week. Bye.